Hello and welcome to another edition of the IceCaps Weekly Wrap. I'm Amy Johnson. Thanks so much for watching. Well, last week saw the IceCaps return to Mile 1 Center in St. John's for the beginning of a 3-week homestand, which would cover the course eventually of 8 games altogether. However, last week they only had 2 games, which was a back-to-back against the Providence Bruins when they came to town. And they started things off on Friday night with their first game against Providence, and this was unfortunately not a very good showing for the IceCaps. They fell to the Bruins 2-1 in this game. Ryan Johnston was one bright spot on the night. He had a power play goal, which actually was his first pro goal. So congratulations to Johnston on that. However, for the rest of the team, too many penalties. There were a couple of fighting majors. Bobby Farnham and David Brohl both had fights in the first and second period, respectively. Coach Lefebvre said after the game that he felt that there were too many passengers on the team on this night and just not a good effort all around. The only other shining spot would be Charlie Lindgren in net, who kept the Bruins to just 2 goals and did a stand-up job in between the pipes. So Saturday, they came back to play the Providence Bruins yet again, and this was a whole different team. They looked very good. In fact, they won this in the shootout 4-3. Goals were scored in regulation by Sven Andrighetto, Bobby Farnham, and Michael McCarron. The top line of Andrighetto, McCarron, and Jacob De La Rose were actually very good together. They combined for 5 points on the night, which was an exceptional showing from that line. And all in all, everything just really looked good. They stayed out of the penalty box. Charlie Lindgren was back in net again and was solid yet again. And after things couldn't be decided in the overtime, in fact, Lindgren had a game-saving goal in literally the final seconds of overtime, a huge save to send it to the shootout, and it was Daniel Audette and Nick Sherbak who scored the goals in the shootout to win this one for the IceCaps. Sherbak hadn't been having a great game up to that point. He had a turnover in the second period, which led to the first Providence goal in this game, but he was out there for the shootout as the third shooter and ended up potting the shootout winner. Transactions for this week: Joel Hanley was sent back down from the Montreal Canadiens, and Mark Barberio was recalled, so he is currently up with the Habs. And Zach Redmond was sent down to play both games last weekend on a conditioning stint. He has since returned to the Habs and met with them out in California on their road trip. So looking ahead to this week, there are 4 games this week on the homestand. Tuesday and Wednesday, the St. John's IceCaps welcome the Syracuse Crunch to town. Those games are 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 7:30 p.m. Newfoundland Time. And then on Saturday and Sunday, the team welcomes Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins. Both of those games are earlier afternoon games. They begin at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 4 o'clock p.m. Newfoundland Time. Don't forget to check us out on Twitter at the AHL Report. You can also find us on Instagram at AHL Report. And of course, always log on to ahl.report online for all of your news, recaps, analysis, and game forecasts. Again, thanks so much for watching. Tune in next week for another edition of the IceCaps Weekly Wrap. I'm Amy Johnson.